We run down on your feature event, 25 laps. On the pole is car number 98, Bud Finale of Jamestown, New York, a 1957 Chevy. Off the pole, car number 220, Chuck Piazza of Jamestown, New York, a 1956 Chevy.
I think when I was probably 18, I tried my hand at drag racing a little bit, and then had a lot of my friends that were doing the circle track, and they was getting a little bit of money every week when they went racing, and I thought, well, that's better than a trophy. And but really, I guess I look back, the guys from Jamestown, of course, back then were Kenny Johnson and Samuel Mancuso and Paul Wilson and John Seeley, and of course Kyle Brown back then, and then was friends with Bobby Schnars and Jug Pierce, and I guess all those guys influenced me one way or the other. I bought my first car, of course, from Marv Thorpe.
Ah.
First year I drove a little bit, and Jug Pierce drove for me and tried to help me, and Dean Layfield drove a car one night and gave me a lot of help, and so I had a lot of help from, not only my friends, but the guys I was racing. Started in 58 and ran, took turns with Jug driving a car when we could get it repaired and get it ready to race. And then Chevrolet maybe in 59. If memory serves me correct, I believe that's what happened. And we won a race or two and started having a little success,
What about Squirt Johns?
Well, Squirt was just, he was, back in those days, he was just awesome. He had those big Chrysler products, and he would get those things to run around the inside. He didn't have to race anybody because he was always down on the inside. It seemed like, he just run around the inside, but he was the only one that could get down there and get traction and make it work, and everybody else was up on the outside. And Squirt was certainly one of my idols back then. He was kind of neat, but we was running at Stateline Speedway one night, and there was, I guess, a pretty good pile-up. Unfortunately, I didn't get involved in it, nor did Tom Dill. And Tom would always get out of the car, we had a chance, and he would exchange pleasantries with the fans, and he was right beside my car, and I remember him asking some of the fans, how he was doing, and I guess he got a positive answer because he wasn't involved in the wreck anyhow. But at any rate, Tom walked over to the car, and he said, I said, who's involved in the wreck? And he said, I don't know. He said, but who's W1? And well, what it was Bobby in there, and he was turned upside down, and Tom looked at him, he said, who's W1? And it took me a second to realize, well, that was Bobby. So, that was a lot of them. Of course, I think one of them was, I think maybe in 59, maybe, or 60. I can't remember now, but it's I think it was the first firecracker race I ever won up at Stateline, and I had bought a brand new engine, and but boy, it really strapped me to buy it, and I wanted to put that engine in, and I finally decided to pay all the other expenses. I need to sell that engine. So somehow Jug and I did a swap or a trade or something. I got a little money extra, I guess. I got his old engine, and he took my new one, and I ended up winning the race with the engine I got from Jug. Had a Joey Chitwood show up at the Speedway, and you know how they rolled the cars over,
right?
And that was pretty exciting. Well, I don't recall how it all happened, but probably Bobby and Jug, and I think I was there, and maybe some other guys was there. But they set up a ramp to to get the car and see how far you could go on two wheels, and I think Jug probably had maybe his dad's car. It wasn't his car, but he got it up on two wheels, but then it went a little further than that, and I as I recall, he rolled it over. But that was Jug, real aggressive, just a hard charger. I can remember some of those races. We'd be starting at the back of the pack, and or you're near the back of the pack, and they did start the points leaders or the faster cars at the back. You always did a reverse starting order back then, anyhow. And I can remember that flag dropping, and you could just hear this engine just screaming. And here comes Tom, and there's no place to go, and he just gets on the back of somebody, and he's pushing the whole line up through there. But he was an aggressive driver too. Deal, yeah, he probably is the one you least wanted to be around because he didn't take any prisoners.
Why 220?
That number come up. I was running the Chevrolets back at that time, and Chevrolet had a engine out that was 220 horsepower. I was fortunate enough to be able to go to work with Berglund, and so I always got to give Ed Schultz a lot of credit for giving me some good equipment and getting a good start in that area. And I think I drove for him a couple of years, and we did have a couple of really good years with Berglund Chevrolet. And okay, well, we were running a state line, and there was a wreck, I think, going down probably right into 3. And I didn't get caught up in the wreck, but I got blocked, so I had to stop. And I was down sort of on the inside of the track, and I looked up in the mirror, and the yellow was out, everything, and the track was pretty well blocked. And here comes Phil Jackson, and boy, he's not slowing down, he's not cracking it. But Phil worked his way around the outside of the blockage around the track, but he never lifts. I mean, he's in it all the way, and I watch him go through 3 and 4 and clear all the congestion and go up the front straightaway, and he still hasn't lifted. And I'm looking at him in the mirror, and here he comes again. He comes off a 2 wide open. I'm sitting down at the end of the straightaway on the inside going into 3. Here comes Phil, and to me it looks like he's never lifted. Well, he stopped, but you know where he stopped? After he went in the back of my car.
Oh, gosh.
Your race is on. In the lead yet is Bud Finale in car number 98, leading the pace. 2 laps completed, 23 laps to go with Keith Warner and 20 running second. A spin out by Marv Thorpe in car number 1 on that 4th turn. And Marv is stalled. I hope they all see that one and go right there into the fence of Phil Jackson, car number 12. Phil Jackson, car number 12, into the fence. Mark Thorpe, car number 1 on the 4th turn. The inside.
The biggest thing, of course, when I started going to the races was watch Dean slide a car all the way around Stateline Speedway, which was unbelievable the way that he used to do it. And I never won as many races. Well, I didn't win a lot of races up there, but I was pretty steady, especially in the later years. But I think probably the highlight was the last year I run up there. I think I won one of the track championships, and I don't recall now whether it was Stateline or Erie. And then I was second at the other track, and then we won the circuit. So that was sort of I guess my crowning achievement, if you'd like to call it that. But I think that was one of the highlights. We did have a good time down there. It was just a lot of camaraderie, and of course we raced, and when we got on the racetrack, we probably beat and banged just as didn't matter who it was, but it was sure a good bunch of guys, and we helped each other a lot, and it was a memorable time, no question.